You ever find yourself sitting in a courtroom, the kind with stained carpets and the humming of old fluorescents, and suddenly realize you're the only one in the room who knows you're not supposed to be the bad guy? Because that was me at 9:17 a.m. on a Wednesday, just staring down at this little slip of paper from the police, feeling like the universe had played some stupid joke. The judge leans in, looks straight at the folks on the other side, and says, "Why is your contractor removing hinges from a gate that doesn't belong to the homeowners association?" No one says a word. Just silence, the heavy kind that sits on your shoulders and makes you wonder what alternate reality you walked into. I wasn't there because I'd thrown some rager or torched the place. I was there because I'd grilled a couple burgers in my own backyard. And the HOA? They try to treat me like I was their property. Let me back up a sec. My name's Ethan Cole. Maple Ridge is where I landed a subdivision that's got layers like a bad onion. Phase 3, that's where the clubhouse and the rules live. Phase 1, my little patch, is old, a little worn down, a lot quieter, and the HOA is totally voluntary. And if you've never dealt with an HOA, let me tell you, people hear those 3 letters and something changes in their eyes. Suddenly, they're acting like they got a badge. The whole mess started with nothing. Really, my daughter had hit a milestone at school, one of those moments you want to actually mark, even if you're tired. So I thought, let's keep it simple. A couple photos, a few burgers sizzling, no wild music, just smoke curling into the cool air, the metal of the grill popping. The kind of night you assume is too boring for trouble. Next morning, I got to grab the trash bins, and there it is. This neon orange notice zip-tied to my fence like some crime scene tape. Fire, HVAC big block letters, like I'd been running a foundry in the backyard. Cease and desist. There's a fake case number, a deadline, all this bureaucratic drama, like they'd copied it off some cop show. For a minute, I just stood there. I actually laughed, then remembered, no, this is real. Instead of tearing it down, I did what you got to do these days, pulled out my phone, filmed the whole thing, made sure I got the date, the time, every detail. Because if there's one thing I've learned, it's that nonsense multiplies fast when you don't pin it down. I checked my security cams and Serpers Aether. She was Brenda Wallace. Picture this little polo shirt, HOA logo stitched so tight you could read it from orbit, marching up, crouching to zip tie that notice to my fence. She steps back, snaps a photo like she's on CSI, and walks off. That right there? That was my first real clue. This had nothing to do with safety. This was about control, and about making an example out of me. Didn't take long for Brenda to post in the neighborhood group. You know the type, friendly reminder. Open flames are a risk for families. We must enforce standards. Didn't use my name, of course. She didn't have to. Everybody knows how those posts work. You throw just enough shade that folks connect the dots, but you keep it vague enough you could deny it later. The real dirty work always happens in the comments. I didn't bite, didn't wade into the drama. Instead, I sent Brenda an email, short, polite, but sharp as a tack. Hi, Brenda. Can you confirm whether my parcel is under the Homeowners Association? If so, send the recorded covenants and membership docs for my address. Also, who placed a notice on my property this morning? No anger, no threats. Just a request for paper. And let me tell you, paper is where bullies start sweating. She wrote back fast, all bluster. Everyone in Maple Ridge must follow community safety standards. Do not hide behind technicalities. Comply immediately. Not a single document, not a scrap of proof. Just that tone, like if she said it loud enough, it'd become real. Couple days later, I get this official-looking violation letter in the mail me address, a member account number I'd never seen in my life. They just decided I was a member and made it true by saying so. That's when annoyance turned to something heavier. See, a fake notice is irritating, but inventing membership, inventing authority, that's a line you can't uncross. Friday, I'm working from home when this diesel truck rumbles up white with community compliance services slapped on the side. 2 guys jump out with clipboards and a tool bag, like they're there to change out a meter. They don't ring my bell, don't say a word. They walk straight to my side gate and start working on the hinges. I grab my phone, step out, say maybe a little too sharp, "Hey, stop. That's private property. You can't touch that." The taller one barely blinks. "We got a work order. Gate access adjustment. Owner noncompliance." Bill goes to the HOA. Like it's just another Tuesday. And there's Brenda in the sidewalk, filming on her phone, not touching a thing. "Proceed," she says, cool as ice. He's obstructing a safety inspection. For a second, I felt like I was watching a bad play in my own yard, my own gate, but somehow my rights were just background noise. Not because I thought she was right, but because I could see just how far she'd go in daylight, in front of witnesses. I told the guys calm, measured, "If you keep going, you're trespassing. I'm not part of your homeowners association. You don't have permission." Brenda, not missing a beat, tosses out, "Then prove it. In this community, we don't do whatever we want." At that point, it wasn't even anger. It was this sinking disbelief like, are we really doing this? You know what I mean? You ever just want to scream? Am I the only sane one left? I didn't shove, didn't threaten. I did the one thing people like Brenda hate. Made it official. Called the non-emergency police line. There are contractors trying to alter my gate without permission. Someone claiming to be the HOA president is directing them. And let me tell you, the air changed real fast. Brenda's voice shot up a notch. The workers suddenly didn't want to be holding tools when a patrol car rolled up. Officer arrives, takes it in, asks a few questions, writes it up. Didn't need a scene, just did what pros do, created a record. Gave me an incident number, put a dot on the map that couldn't just disappear. Brenda tried to charm him with the old, "We're just enforcing standards" routine. The cop looked at her and asked, "Do you have documentation that this property is under your association?" She didn't. She had vibes. She had opinions. She had her fancy shirt, but no paper. The contractors packed up, grumbling. Brenda gave me a look I'll never forget, like I'd pulled the rug out from under her in front of the whole neighborhood. But here's the thing they never tell you after the adrenaline. There's just emptiness. That night, I sat at my kitchen table with my laptop, playing the footage, reading those letters, lining up dates, not doubting myself, but feeling the weight of the whole circus. Even if you're right, you can still drown in forms, calls, and nonsense. You can still wake up to a lien threat or get a nasty grant from your insurance just because someone felt like stirring the pot. What hit me hardest, though, was this quiet thought, not, "Am I wrong?" But how much of my life are they about to steal? That's the part nobody warns you about. The grind, the constant erosion of your time, your peace. For a second, I really thought about quitting. Maybe I just stop grilling, let Brenda think she won, go back to being invisible. And then out of nowhere, a neighbor I barely know send me a screenshot. It's from the internal HOA notes, not meant for outsiders. There it was, clear as day. My parcel might not fall under their authority, but they were pushing forward anyway as a deterrent. Basically, let's see if he flinches. That right there, that flipped a switch in me. Because if they do it to me, they'd do it to anyone. So I got an attorney. Not some flashy type, just a real estate lawyer who likes facts, not drama. We dug through my closing paperwork, pulled county maps, built a timeline. Every scrap of paper, every video. Orange notice, fake membership file, contractors, police report. Brenda calls for a compliance hearing. At the Phase 3 clubhouse turns it into a spectacle. There's even security by the door, like I'm about to start a riot. Brenda sits at the front, ready to play principal. She starts up, all formal. Mr. Cole has repeatedly refused to comply with safety standards. But my attorney doesn't let her finish. He slides a parcel map over, cool as you like. "Before we go further, show us where my client agreed to HOA authority." Brenda blinks, tries to pivot. Safety isn't limited by membership. And my lawyer just says quiet, but sharp authority is. Then he turns to the contractor foreman. "Who's there as a witness? Who told you to remove hardware from that gate?" The guy looks at Brenda, at the security guard, and finally just says, "Brenda told us to proceed." Security steps up, ma'am. Stop talking. Do not argue with witnesses. The whole room shifts like someone opened a window, because that's what happens when power built on intimidation finally meets daylight. Next morning, we file for a restraining order. Not for drama, just for boundaries. No more notices, no more contractors, no more pretending. In court, the judge doesn't care about clubhouse politics or social media, just who has authority on paper. When he asks why the HOA's contractor was removing hinges from a gate they don't own, and Brenda can't show a single document, game over. Temporary order granted. No more fake files, no more threats. The best part? Brenda's empire crumbled, not with fireworks, but with a whimper. The invoices got pulled back. The complaints disappeared. Next board meeting, Brenda didn't sit up front. She just melted into the chairs while the others quietly voted her out. No title, no power, just silence. I didn't throw a party, didn't gloat. I went home, fired up my grill, stood in the yard, and just breathed quiet, steady, normal. The way it should have been from the start. You want to know the lesson? Paper beats power trips every single time. But here's what I really learned sometimes. The biggest fight isn't about right or wrong, but about not letting yourself get worn down. About holding your ground so the next guy doesn't have to fight twice as hard. So, let me ask you, where's the line between standing up for yourself and just surviving? Have you ever had to push back, even when everyone else said to just let it go? Drop your story below, because if you've ever been through this kind of nonsense, sometimes the only way to win is to refuse to back down.
Cảm ơn tất cả các bạn đã xem video.